Hello and welcome back. My name is Kabira and this is Kabira Speaks. On this channel I talk about a lot of different things, but from here on out I'm probably going to be talking mostly about mental health and trauma recovery because that's what I'm doing right now. This video in particular is going to be a little bit difficult to talk about and it might be difficult to hear. I'm going to try to stop talking so fast. It might be difficult to hear. I'm talking about rape and abuse and specifically the reporting process. So if those things are triggering for you, then you can exit the video. And if you have questions about it and you want to get some answers that way, then you can always message me. Okay, so I'm going to be talking more so about reporting after the fact. So I reported my rapist 5 years after it happened. This is someone I met in college, was my friend, was attracted to him. He raped me at a college party. I was the one who apologized to him. I begged him to still be my friend. And I desperately wanted to make amends with him after it happened and to act like it just didn't happen at all. At no point did I want to ruin his life. So this is known as a fawn response. I'll talk about that another day. Then, after that, he convinced me to break up with my boyfriend of 2 years. He moved into my apartment, rent-free, and we dated for the next year and a half. This is what's known as trauma bonding, and I will talk about that another time. Not this time. I'm somewhat limited in what I can say, because this is still happening. So I'm trying to be vague while still giving you like information that I think would be important for someone else in this position. And if you are in this position, I am genuinely so sorry. I understand. Anyway, so I move away to go to grad school. We break up. I'm devastated. Part of the trauma bond. I find out 5 years later that I had not been the only person that had been hurt by this person. So then I reported. This is what it was like, and this is what's currently going on. So you have to call the police that are where the incident occurred. So for me, that would be my college. So I had to contact I initially called the Bradford County Police, not understanding, because that's where I'm from. But what I really need to do was get in contact with the Tioga County Police, because that's where it happened. And when I called them, you could immediately like hear in their voice, they were somewhat like cold to me on the phone. Luckily for me, the police officer who I would then start working with on a much closer level was very kind and a lot warmer. But my initial phone call to the police was like, they were really abrupt and like standoffish almost. So that was upsetting to me. So what I would encourage you to do would be to call your rape crisis center first. So when I called the rape crisis center, they were much warmer and easier to talk to. So if you call the crisis center, they have advocates that can make this phone call with you. Or you could go there in person. I say on the phone because I had moved 3.5 hours away. So I did a lot over the phone. So anyway, I set up a time to meet with a police officer in person where he would interview me and I had to tell him the whole story. This took quite a long time to get the whole story out, especially because it was, the incident happened, then we dated. So that took a lot of explaining. And I really didn't understand a lot of why I would do such a thing. I have then since been in therapy and done a lot of research on my own to figure out why. And it is part of my life's mission to help other people who have suffered from trauma bonds. You see it a lot in domestic violence relationships where people or women or men stay in a relationship with someone who's hurting them. It's not unheard of. The court is acting like you're never going to win, but that's a story for the end. Anyway, so I had to get interviewed by the police officer, get all the details out. He would then write up what happened. And then he passed that along to me and said, hey, this is what you told me. Are all these details correct? And I said, yes, they are. And this part is the investigation. He was investigating my story so then he could present it to, I actually don't know. He had to go give this information to somebody else so that the person who raped me could then be arrested. Yeah, that's what happened next. So he was arrested. Then there's going to be a bail that's set. So if the bail is paid, that means that they can leave jail and go on home. So that's what happened. He was arrested. His bail was set. Sister bailed him out. He went home. Then within the next 2 weeks, the next thing that happens is the preliminary hearing. So I did not understand what the preliminary hearing was going to be. I did not understand what it was going to be like. So I went by myself. Terrible mistake. Do not do that. Bring someone with you. It's really important. If you don't have someone that you trust or that you want to bring with you, then you can have someone from the crisis center go with you. That's what they're there for. The crisis center can also provide you therapy, and that will be free to you. So I had to do that, and that was helpful. So anyway, preliminary hearing. The police officer was there. The judge was there. It was in a little courthouse. The assistant district attorney was there. She's the prosecutor in this case. And my rapist and his lawyer were there. And that was it. Oh, and a stenographer who records the whole conversation. So at this point, I'm asked questions by the ADA, and then I'm cross-examined by his lawyer. It is important to note that the ADA she's not Team Kabira, she's Team Pennsylvania. She's representing the Commonwealth, and I'm just a witness. So it's kind of a frustrating thing, to be honest with you. Well, the whole thing is really frustrating. Of course it is. So anyway, the point of the preliminary hearing, which is like a mini trial sort of, is to determine if there is probable cause or not. So if there is a chance that a crime occurred, that's probable cause. So at the end of being asked questions by the ADA and being asked horrible, violent, or vile questions by his lawyer, after that, each side gets a chance to summarize what they just were trying to prove. And then the judge gets to determine if the charges will be bound over. The charges being bound over means that they're staying. So at my preliminary hearing, all of the charges that were, all the things that he was being charged for, which was like 5 different felony type things, they were all bound over. And that was it. The ADA and I walked out, and she's like, well, now we wait. And she wasn't kidding, because it has now been well over a year and a half and nothing has happened. So he was out and is out, free, bopping around, living his life. This person is in the military. He's white. And this is all happening in my small area where I'm from, or very close to where I'm from. So the next thing that was available or open, or like the next step, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, would be plea bargaining. So plea bargaining would be, these are the charges, the harsh charges. Plea bargaining would be him and his lawyer saying, hey, we're not gonna accept this, but we'll admit to this. However, the things that that my rapist is willing to admit to is like way, 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 way less than what happened. They want to call it simple assault. And everyone has been telling me that you're not going to win this case because you dated him. Will you accept the plea bargaining? And I don't know if I'm making the right decision or not, but I just can't wrap my mind around how it couldn't go in my favor, but everyone is telling me it's not going to. That he's gonna, unless I accept the plea bargain, because I do have somewhat of a say in it, sort of, kind of, I guess. It doesn't feel like I really do. But unless we accept the plea bargaining, then it will move on to trial. So it's been well over a year and a half. Nothing happened. There were pretrial conferences scheduled and canceled. Had those taken place, he would have been able to plea down. I was asked to write a victim impact statement, which I did. I wrote like 4 pages. Spoke to the courthouse and I was like, hey, did you read it? And they were like, no. So that was really shitty, but I think they eventually did read it, hopefully. Something that's been extremely frustrating to me is that I have not had contact with the ADA. And she's the one who has to get the story from me up there on the stand. And I feel like she should be talking to me a lot more than she is. So I really don't know. But anyway, so I just found out that a trial is scheduled. So that's what's going to happen next. I said no to the plea. There's going to be a trial on March 9th, 2022, where there will be a jury of 12, and I will be up there on the stand, and he will probably take the stand, and we will be examined by both parties, the ADA and his lawyer. So the jury has to unanimously agree. I believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure they have to unanimously agree. And both sides get to choose members of the jury. So the ADA gets to choose, and he and his lawyer get to choose. Both sides are also allowed to strike people from the jury. So let's say the ADA wants Bob to be on the jury, and this side over here was like, no, we don't think that person's definitely going to vote for, not vote, but you know what I'm saying, go against us, so we're going to strike him. And both sides can actually choose to strike without a reason. I think you get a certain amount of strikes without having to explain why. So it'll be a jury of 12, has to be unanimous, and it's happening in a few months. So that's what the process was like for me. So just to summarize, there's the initial report, there's the investigation, the arrest, bail that will be set, preliminary hearing, and then plea bargaining, and then the trial. So that's what I know so far. If you are the praying type, then pray for me. And I will keep you updated when it's okay for me to do so. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, that's really all I had to say. I was really so confused throughout the whole thing. I felt like everyone around me was speaking a different language. And I had to spend a lot of time looking things up to figure out what the hell was going on. Because court stuff is confusing. It really is. So I hope that was somewhat helpful. And I'm always here if anyone ever wants to chat. So thank you for listening, and take care. See you next time.